Welcome back, subscribers. This is Johnny Hopper, and a lot went down at this weekend's Houston Supercross, especially a little bit of team rivalry between Marvin and Webb, and I'm going to break it down for you. So it doesn't appear that there's any team orders with KTM as of right now because they're so close in points between Marvin and Webb. Webb is obviously leading the championship. Marvin is close. And Marvin was supposed to be KTM's top guy once Dungey left. And Webb was supposed to be this talented rider that could be groomed and potentially do exactly what he's doing right now. But they were expecting him a couple top 10 finishes and some top 5s, and they were going to be happy with it. And then maybe next year they're like, hey, you need to step it up. But that's not what happened. We've seen Webb win a few races over Marvin, and he's got the red plate. So this was more of a sending a message to Marvin, hey, I'm the guy on KTM. I'm the guy to beat. You need to take a step back. And Marvin, he's not willing to give that up. All right, he still thinks he's the top guy. So he's trying to send the exact same message to Webb. Let me know if you guys agree. Just from a racer's perspective, that's what I see what's going on. So we all saw the start. Roczen was out front, and Marvin block passes Webb clean. All right, it was very clean. And then Webb jumps into the inside, blocks him back clean again. So then, a little bit into the race, I wouldn't even say a little bit. It was probably like lap 3 or 4. I have to look back at the footage to actually see. But Marvin jumps to the inside of Webb and stuffs him. You know, not a super gnarly stuff, but just stuffs him. And I believe that's the pass that Webb did not like. And Webb had it from there. Because then Webb comes back in the same corner, hits Marvin's rear wheel, almost goes down, and then after the whoops, tries stuffing him again and makes contact but doesn't make it stick. But then across the finish line straight, he goes in really, really hot. Marvin has no idea what's going on and then just straight up T-bones Marvin and almost takes them both out. But Marvin goes off the track and, you know, we saw what happened after that. Okay, I personally think Marvin was the fastest guy this weekend. He just had some bad luck. And winning a championship is a little bit about racecraft too. It's what I mean by that is strategy. So Webb has been very good. His qualifying times haven't been on fire. You know, sometimes he's been outside the top 10, but come race time, he's able to put on some moves and finish top 3 and even win the race. So then just jumping back a little bit, it looks like the qualifying, there was 49 riders in the 450 class. And obviously they take the top 18 at these Triple Crown, and then they have a last chance qualifier up to 22nd place. So then the top 4 there make up the gate. And then in the 250 class, there's only 29 riders. And 18 of those went straight to the main. And then again, the last 10 or so then go to an LCQ, and that's how they make up the 22 riders. Roczen had the fastest qualifier. Marvin was 4th, which was about half a second slower, and then Webb was 8th, which was another 0.6 slower than Marvin at the time. But the next thing I want to talk about is the 250 class. Shane Mcelrath. Is he really injured, or is he just telling the media he's injured because he's so close to marking out? Because I believe perhaps it could go both ways. He could actually be injured, and it could work out great for him because then he gets to stay another year in the 250 class and doesn't have to move up to the 450 class, which is the more competitive class just because of the level of riders. Not saying the 250 class isn't competitive. It's just 450 has a lot of past lights champions in there as well. Plus, it's harder to get a factory ride with the 450s than it is the 250s. Again, not saying that it's easy to get a factory ride in the lights class because it's not. All right, he was 12 points or so, don't quote me, from marking out to where he couldn't be eligible or would not be eligible to race the lights class again for 2020. He would have to race a 450, and he may not have gotten a ride. All right, but this way, he might still be able to stay on his current KTM team and make another run for the championship, because he seems like one of the faster 250 guys that has not won a championship, kind of like Joey Savacci. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think he's injured, or do you think he's playing this as, hey, this will just work out better for me, I'll tell the media this? Because unfortunately in racing, everyone keeps secrets. They always say they may be injured when they're not, and then at times when they are injured, they don't want anyone to know either. So it goes both ways. Racing is so much a head game than it is physical. It's got a lot of aspects to do to it, but it's very, very mental, all right? Because you got to be on top of your game, and it's amazing what you can do once you're in the right headspace. Just like Webb, you know, did he become a much greater rider in the last 6 months with his training camp with the Bankers Factory? Yeah, probably. But did his confidence go up? And then as soon as he found out, hey, I can lead a lap, then that turns into, hey, I can lead 20 laps. Hey, I can win a race. Hey, I can do this again. And then just it compiles. If you're a racer out there racing beginner class, novice, pro, 85, 65, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you're in that headspace where you just feel confident and nobody can beat you, well, you're a hard competitor to beat, per se. All right, so let me know what you think about that. The yellow flags. All right, I know in pro racing you're allowed to jump on yellow because you have these more trained, I would say, flaggers that point you in the right direction. Rider down on the left-hand side, you got to go right, you got to go right. So the riders jump, because it is not fun to watch everyone roll like a mud race. They're not that much fun to watch because you got these pro riders just rolling everything. And if that rule was you had to roll, well, there could be laps where half the riders are rolling half of the track because there's multiple riders down at the same time. So rider safety versus action, I can definitely see that. In this circumstances with Adam Cincerillo falling down in a blind spot, I'm sure the flaggers were doing their job. It was hard to see on TV, but bike was on one side of the track, he was on the other side, he was running back and forth, and Justin Starling ended up jumping over it, probably going, oh shit, slams on his brakes. Luckily doesn't totally clean out Adam, but stops, and then another rider hits his bike and falls over. In a situation like that, would rolling have helped? Yes, because it was a blind spot. So do the rules need to change? That's a huge argument that it goes both ways. All right, so let me know if you guys think, just like at the local tracks, if yellow means not only don't pass, but also you have to roll. Should that be moved over to professional racing? Or do you think local racing should have, hey, you can jump on a yellow, but be cautious, per se? So there's another argument right there. And then the last thing I want to go over about this Supercross is the starts. And these 90-degree corners right into a rhythm section, I personally think are super dangerous. All right, you've got more than likely the fast guys lining up on the inside, which is a straight shot, just straight to the corner, and then boom, quick 90-degree into the rhythm. And then you've got other riders on the outside that are bombing in, that have a little bit more of a sweep. They don't have to slam on their brakes as much. They don't have to slow down as fast because they're not coming to a complete 90 degrees and then having a sharp. But in that instance, if you're the guy on the very inside that has that straight shot, well, you can't see the guy on the far outside that's still fourth gear wide open coming into this corner and can end up just T-boning you. And we saw that happen a couple times with these 90-degree corners. They've happened in the past. Perhaps they can design the tracks a little bit differently to make them more of a, not a complete 180, but more of like a sweeping. So you have guys coming from the way outside and still the way inside, you have a little bit more leeway of drifting. So, you know, even the guys out front, we saw Adam Cincerello come in hot and end up just kind of going off the track, causing a pileup because the guys on the outside had no idea there's this guy hauling ass coming up the inside, slamming on his brakes, and then all of a sudden he's in front of you. You have to slam on your brakes. What do? All right, but at least this wasn't a right-hand corner, because on a right-hand 90, well, you can't use your rear brake to stop as much because, you know, you've got your leg out to turn. All right, at least the riders had control of both their front and rear, you know, in this situation. But do I think it needs to change? Potentially, just for the rider's safety, because if you've ever been in that kind of a situation, those are fairly sketchy. And the top guys that are doing well, they come in with the extent to push you out of the way. And that's the mentality that you have to have, especially in professional racing, to do well. You can't be hesitant whatsoever, because as soon as you're hesitant, you might as well just let the gate drop and let everyone go, because you've unconsciously told yourself, I want to make it around this corner safely. And that's kind of what happened with Chad Reed in, you know, Seattle. It was just these damn 90-degree corners. So this is Johnny. Hope this video was interesting. Let me know. Please rebuttal me. Let me know what you guys think. I love the conversation that I've had on the last couple videos. Let's keep it going. And thanks for watching.